Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Without wasting time, we will be going into the business of the day. So, because my video may stand in the way of your screen, I may ultimately take my video out so that you can have a full real estate of your screen. So, I'm going to start by taking us to the PowerPoint slide that I shared, that was shared. Now, that PowerPoint slide is not the worst one. It could actually be worse. So if everyone has it, then we are in business. So the workshop is going to be in two parts. The first part is going to be a little tour to give us an idea of the tools that we're going to use to achieve what we want to achieve today. All right. I believe you can see my screen. Now, the objective of this workshop is really very simple and very straightforward. Sometimes you have a crash program. In other words, you may have an emergency workshop or an emergency seminar or even an emergency lecture that you have to give. And sometimes you actually have all the material in a Word document. One of the typical things to find is individuals that just copy from their Word document and just conveniently paste it right inside of their PowerPoint, auto bullet generation, and they are good to go. Now, what I end up getting is a very chunky PowerPoint, very dense, very unattractive, often just basically a default slide design, and you can't make much sense of it for a presentation because of how choked up it is. The second thing is that sometimes you may decide, let me just pick one of the themes. And like somebody said, when you sit to listen to a PowerPoint presentation and you see these slides, immediately you see the appearance, you just know that, oh, this same old design. So there's something about us that likes newness. So part of what happens that is either you use one of the common slides or the ones that are available to you depending on your version of PowerPoint, or you just go on the good old default white template, white background, black text, default title, default layout, and it's usually very boring and unattractive. In as much as a PowerPoint is not supposed to be a work of art, I can tell you that elegant looking slides with good visuals, slides with very legible text makes it easier for you to communicate and also makes your audience to suffer less visual challenge and stress trying to follow you. So what we're going to do this morning is to look at these two things. One, how can we create straight off the bat? And two, how can we create from existing text? Now, another thing that happens a lot is you find so many different texts in the same slide, and they are just flying all over the place. You find Calibri, you find Time Roman, you just find everything. You find Berlin, just all over the place, and that is not professional. It doesn't give a sense of harmony, and it doesn't give a sense of maturity. Now, there's so many things I cannot say here today because the Academy has a workshop where it talks about the philosophy of multimedia presentation. So it's a different workshop together. If you're interested in that workshop, you can communicate afterwards. But that workshop, we can't deal with that now. Those are some of the things we talk about. We talk about the philosophy. So if you don't have a good grasp of the philosophy of multimedia presentation, it actually will even affect how you go about preparing your slides. So we also had a workshop on which was called the PowerPoint Create and Animate Master Point. Now, what that workshop deals with is how to introduce high-level animation, not just anyhow, but to communicate your information to your audience using text and increasing visual content of your PowerPoint will make it easy to communicate and prevent people from just reading like they are reading a novel or something of that nature. But again, that's another workshop on its own. If you have interest in that, you can communicate and we can talk about that and see if maybe during any other offering of it, you may be able to attend. So these things are advanced things. The creation and animation are an advanced PowerPoint element. But today we are going to start from that animation component in order to dress a bad presentation. So that's like an introduction to this workshop. Next thing I'm going to do is to show us some of the tools. Now, basically, we are going to use 3 tools to be able to transform that chunky PowerPoint. Now, I'm going to do something that we will appreciate as we go along. But most importantly, we are going to be working together. So you have your own file, I have my own file, and then we'll be doing the work together. Most of the time, when you open a PowerPoint, you have a blank screen, pure blank screen, white screen. Now, I'm giving a feeling of these 60 slides. This is our title. This is the rest of the text. Now, what you have here is basically not really much of any sense. It's mostly auto-generated text. A few things are sensible there. Most of the things is from random text generation. So, but for example, on slide 3, multiple font size and types. To make your document professionally produced, Word provides a footer. So you find a lot of things going on. So there's not really so much sense. Maybe on this slide, there are some things that make sense. But I want to ask, what is the first thing that strikes you when you see this 60-slide deck? This is not a webinar, it's a workshop. So in the workshop, we talk to each other.
Good morning, Prof.
Yes, please.
Yes, when I first saw the slide, I had to call a colleague, Pharmacist Vinko, to ask if the class is to be taken by Prof. Because by just seeing how haphazard the slides were, I was not sure if the slides is what we're going to use, because I was a bit confused. Was this slides actually prepared by a professional coach who was to guide us through how to prepare a good slides? Thank you, sir.
All right, that is very interesting. So the fact that you are able to see that this slide is clumsy means you're in the right path. Now, it could have actually been worse than this. I tried to make it as bad as I could, but I discovered that it was not even as bad as some of the ones I've had to listen to and watch. So, what do you find here? Let's take a quick run through. Most of the slides are repeated. But if you look at slide 2, you find out that the text is small, 22, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 6 bullets. You go to the next one. You have bullet 1 and bullet 2. If I click on it, you will see it's Time New Roman. By clicking on the text, you can easily see what the font type is. If I click on this bullet here, I'm seeing that it's Tahoma. If I come here, I see Time New Roman here. So I'm seeing this is Time New Roman 28. This is Tahoma 28. This is Time New Roman 24. I mean, this is crazy. Then you come here, you see this Time New Roman 24. You come here, you see Brush Script MT 24. You come here, you see Time New Roman 24. You come here again, you see Comic Sans 24. And the story is just like that. Look at this slide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. An outrageously chunky slide. 8 bullets. As soon as you put this on the screen, everybody's like, what's going on here? Here we have another one. So even though I cannot tell you anything in the philosophy of multimedia, and this particular bullet 7 has some information for you that you can take note of. So you can just, you can map out somewhere to write. Slide 7, avoid using serif fonts. What are serif fonts? Serif fonts are things like Time New Roman. They have an ear. They have strokes here and there. So Time New Roman is serif font. Now, look at this. Sitka is a serif font. Sitka heading is a serif font. All these ones are serif fonts. They have some funny things here and there. But Tahoma is not a serif font. Simpson is a serif font. So any font that has something attached to the letters, it's not just a straight curve. That is a serif font, and they are not usually advisable. Then you should try to set all the elements of your slide before you start. You can actually bring information from other documents or other text documents. You have to know how to play about them. Then this other issue is about the number of slides. You don't need to bother about that. The time you use to present is what's important. Full sentences, bullets, and spacing is a key, big key. So there are a few other things that are here, but they are just little tips from the 4Cs workshop. Now, again, you come here, you find different texts, you find different sizes, you find different, so this is unacceptable. You come here, you find different texts. This one is 28, this one is 28, this one is bold. Everything here is just looking crazy. So the reset and clear format tool is part of what we are going to be using today. I think we can also see here a few things that are important that we will look at. When you click design and choose a new theme, the average presenter will use designs from your design themes. All the elements in the design template or theme can be tweaked. That means you can actually take a design template and rework it and stuff like that. You can easily look at all of that. So let me go back home. And then for the transformation of our slides, we are going to use 3 basic tools. And those 3 tools are, if you want to write them down, you can write them down. The master slide, a little animation, and then we are going to use shapes. With these 3, you can transform 60 slides. Now, of course, I'm not going to transform the entire slide with you, but I'm going to show you how you can actually get around transforming this whole deck of slides. So there are a few other tools. We talked about 5 other tools that we're going to look at that can help us in fixing and advancing our PowerPoint presentation, preparation, sorry. Now, if you look in this little space here, you will find 4 or 5 things. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, these 3 tools here are very critical to helping you play around when you are doing your PowerPoint and when you want to present. Now, when you have information that you have brought in from somewhere and they are looking clumsy, these 3 tools are useful in helping to shape how you can improve on that PowerPoint deck. Now, the other thing is the shape. Now, there's a shape tab. When you go to insert, you will see insert shapes. Now, there are all kinds of shapes there. In our Create and Animate workshop, we deal with how we can take shapes and transform them to use them in our communication. So, but that's not what we are talking about today. So, but we're going to use something from here to be able to improve our slides. Now, I'm trying to talk a little bit slow because of probable lag of internet, we'll be on the same page. So, this is one of the tools we are going to use to transform. So that is the shape tool. We are going to use shape as a tool. Now, under shapes, we are going to do some little editing. So we are going to edit and work on the shape, 1 or 2 shapes that we may pick. No, the first thing I mentioned, the first thing we are going to use is the master slide, but I've not come to it. Let me talk about the ones on the periphery. So we are going to shape. The third thing we are going to use is animations. Animation, I find a lot of people use animation, but animations are used in a mature way to convey your information. And under the 4Cs workshop, control is a major component of PowerPoint presentation. Because when you are presenting, you want to control the audience. You don't want the audience to control you, and you don't want to be forced from the audience. But I cannot discuss all of that here. That's a workshop on its own. So we're going to do a little bit of animation. Now, all of these things we are going to be doing are going to be resident under one big place, which is the master slide. Now, if you have a car, you know there's what they call master brake. Master brake is like a control unit. So the master slide is a control unit that controls the look, the entire look of the PowerPoint. The entire look of the PowerPoint. I will come to that in a moment. So I go back home. Now, layout is another important element. It's another important tool that helps you in your presentation. So I've mentioned master slide, I've mentioned shapes, I've mentioned animation. I've also mentioned reset, but I've not told you what it does. And also sections. So again, I have the master slide, you have the layout, you have the reset, you have sections, you have shapes, you have animations. All of these are going to help in making a difference in outlook of your presentation. So, any questions for now? Before we proceed.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please. Please, your voice is very low. It's clear, but it's low.
Okay. Okay, so I'm using Microsoft Word version 10, and I can't
Microsoft
find
what?
anything. Yes, yeah, the PowerPoint.
Microsoft PowerPoint what?
Yes, sir. Version 10,
Version what?
not version 10.
I've not heard of
I
that
can't
one
find any.
before.
Okay. I mean Windows 10. Sorry, I mean Windows 10.
No, it's not your Windows that matters. It's your PowerPoint. What's the version of your PowerPoint?
Okay, maybe I have to check again. But my concern is the master slides. I'm not seeing anything like that here, sir.
The master slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay, don't worry. I've not shown you the master slide yet.
Okay, okay. I do say master slides. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Hello, bro.
Yes, please.
Hello, bro.
Yes,
You
please.
mentioned that three things. You mentioned that three things we are going to use in the slide transformation.
Yes.
The master slide,
Yes.
a little animation,
Yes. Yes.
and then the third one I didn't get it very well.
The third one is shapes.
Shapes.
Shapes. Yes. Let me just make a quick recap. We have this slide, 6 slide deck, different funny slides here and there, and want to convert it into something different. Now we're going to use 3 basic tools, and those 3 basic tools are the master slide, then animation, little animation, and then we're also going to use shapes. Another thing I didn't mention, sorry, is the clear animation. This is the clear all formatting. So if you go to a particular slide and you click on text, you have what they call clear all formatting. Then you also have reset. So in all, we have mentioned 3, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 again. So we are now going to walk from where we are to something different. Yes, I didn't mention, okay, I mentioned layout. The another thing is paragraphs. Paragraph is another important tool that can help your PowerPoint to look well. You can use paragraph to separate the text without having to worry yourself with all the enter to create space. Just like you have paragraph in your Microsoft Word or any other text editing software. All right. So the last thing I'm going to show you before we start is how to get to the master slide. Now, to get to the master slide, you can use 2 approaches. The first approach is you go to view. When you click on view, you will see all the possibilities. And there you see that you are in normal view. That's your current view. Then you have outline view. If you click on it, this is what it will show you. If you click on slide sorter, this is what it will show you. If you click on notes page, this is what it will show. And if you click on reading view, this is what it will show. Then you have slide master. So today we are going to be concerning ourselves with the slide master. Now you can easily go out of the slide master by clicking close here. Now this is where I am, but there's another way. So you see, so right now this is notes. So if I click here, it will bring me back to my normal view. If I click this again, it brings the notes. If I click it again, it now brings me to my outline. So each time you click on this, it's going to take you through a cycle of 3 views. The normal view is what we have. If I click it again once, it will give me this view. If I click it again, it will bring me to this view. Now, if I want to get to my master slide from here, I can just use my shift button and click on that normal view, and it will bring me to slide master. We are now in the active section. So have you been able to get to this master slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let me show you again. You can close by clicking here. You can also close by clicking on normal. So right now, we are in master slide. We can close that slide from here. And at the same time, I can click here. So for me, the easiest way to get to the master slide is the shortcut. Just press shift and click on normal, and it brings you straight here. So I think it's faster than going to view and then coming to click slide master. But whichever one is okay for you. Both of them are equally taking you to the same place. Now, let's go out of the slide master. Now, under layout, you have 1, 2, 3, 9 different layouts. You can actually create your own layout. Maybe the way you want to put your content, you don't find anything here that is in that direction. You can actually create your own. The second thing is you can actually modify a layout. You can modify the layout. The third thing is that under designs, you can also modify the designs to a certain extent. You can modify some of the designs. So if you look at all these designs, it's just somebody's imagination. So you can also use your own imagination to create something. And that's what we are going to do now very, very soon. Okay, so let me go back home. And once again, remind you, you have layout. There are 9 of them. You have reset. I will soon show you what the reset does. You have sections. I will show you what the section also does. So now we're going to go straight to slide master. So you go click view, and you click on slide master. Are we there now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the slide master? The slide master is just according to its name. It's the master of all slides. This is where you can define what happens to all the slides. Oh, every slide. You can also decide what happens to every layout. I showed you that there are several different types of layouts, 9 layouts by default, but you can create more layouts depending on your own requirements. Now, this first slide is actually the what is the master slide. Is the theme, office theme master slide. So this itself is a theme. So even though you are using it, I think it's colorless, it is just like that. No, there is a level of order that is. So on the master slide, you are able to determine what happens to every other slide. Then all those 9 layouts that I showed you, look at them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then even other things. So all the layouts, the 9 layouts, you can actually determine how they look and what each one should be in terms of shape, in terms of content, in terms of direction, in terms of what the text should be, if you want even the text to be different. Now, the master slide determines to every other slide, and that's what we're going to do right away now. So, with me, the journey begins now. I'm not going to spend a long time sorting this out. So, this, once I click on the first one is the master slide. You can see it's bearing number 1, but every other thing here is underneath it. It doesn't have a number, but it has a name. So when you put your cursor on it, you see say office theme, slide master. If you put on this, I say title slide layout, and only one slide is using it in this 60 slide deck. The next one is title and content layout. Most people, all the slides they ever prepare is only the title and content slide they use. By default, once you enter into the PowerPoint, the first slide you're going to have is a title slide. If you add a new slide, it's going to be title and content. That's how it works. If you need any other thing, you have to call it by defining what the layout should be. So we are going to quickly run and just do something. I'm going to be intuitive, and then we're going to be creative, and we're going to be editing at the same time. So the first thing I want to do is I want to assume that I don't want this black text. So I'm going to select text. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I need you to respond. Okay. Now, let me take my mouth out. If we're all on the same page. Now, if you see each of these texts, each of these layouts, you see the text is what? Black. That is because it is controlled by the master slide. So if I take this, so if I go this way, you see all the texts are black. Now, if I come here and I say this particular text is going to reflect on titles, because this place is titles. This is titles. This is click to edit master title style. That means every title slide is going to be reflected by anything that is a title, where there's a placeholder, that is a text box. So I'm going to select this, and you can see color there. I can change color to white. Yes, we have changed the color to white. I'm sure I'm no more seeing text, isn't it? Yes, because white on white will be white, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Now, if you now go to title slide, you can see this title slide. There is text there, but you can't see it again. Go to text, look at all the titles are gone. Everywhere, you can't see title, but it is there. Why can't you see it? Because of the color. Are we on the same page?
Yes, sir.
But you can see the title of the content. I mean, the content text is still appearing because I didn't touch it. I'm going to go back to that master slide. Then you see this text box. Every text box is actually a shape. So now I'm going to take this text box, which is actually a shape. What you have here is actually a white box with a white outline, but not in all sense. It's actually a text box with an outline, but the outline is invisible. So now, because it has color, we are going to add color. We are going to confer a shape and also confer an outline if you want. So the next thing I'm going to do now is going to go to shape. You can see as I click on this, the format, you see drawing tools and format have become highlighted, which means there's something I can do to what is highlighted. If I click out of it, you see that that thing is no more there.
Okay.
So if you click
Yes,
if you click on the edges of that text box, then format becomes active. Now you click on that format. This will bring you to this format range where you can do a lot of formatting on the things that are going on in there.
Okay,
Are we
yes,
together?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
what I'm going to do here is very simple. This is, I'm going to confer a color on it. And I'm going to confer a blue color. There you go. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you are with me, by now, everything in all the slides will now be showing blue. Everywhere there is a title, we show blue, and you will now see white text will appear. Beautiful. Now, I'm still on this I'm still on this slideshow. This is where all the magic is going to happen. Now, I want to change this text and make it bold. So I select it and bolden it. The moment I bolden it, everybody gets boldened. Can you see? All the titles become boldened in all the different layouts. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
That is interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, if you want to have a small preview of what is going on, close the master view and now go to our own slide, and you can see transformation is already beginning. Are you seeing that?
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, yes. Yes, I can see it. It has reflected
Can you see?
in our slide.
We
yes,
have
sir.
only done one thing, and the slide is already looking different.
Yes.
When you know the right tool to use, the right knife to cut. You don't use the knife for bread to cut yam, it will not work. You don't use the knife for cutting bread to cut meat, it won't work.
Sure,
Once
sir.
you know the right one, it's going to work like magic. That's why I said this is a bonus workshop. Plenty of things under the hood, but for almost nothing. In fact, I told someone that there is no registration fee. It's just a commitment fee. Right. Now, here we go. Let's go back now to our master slide so that we can get a little bit more excited. Can you get back to the master slide? Click on view, click on master slide. It's as simple as that. We are back there. Now, you can see that when we went back to the master slide, it's going to go to the layout that you were on. So we were on the title slide, so it went to that layout. Are you seeing that layout? This is the layout. This is the master slide, the one that carries one, is the one that controls all. Now, I want to still do something on this master slide. So move to the master slide, number 1. Are we together now?
Yes, we're together.
Good. Now, let's go again to insert this time. And we click on shape. Are we there together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's click on rectangle. Can you see rectangle? You can see one. Yeah, me, I've used this several times. So you see, I'm on my reason. But if it's not there, just click on rectangle.
Okay.
Now, you see there are 2 rectangles. There is one that is a pure rectangle, and there's one called rounded rectangle. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now, click on the rounded rectangle. Then, you now press your shift button, and you just draw something like this. Are you there with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let me see whether I will do. Let me leave it a little bit like this. Now, this is a shape. You can see that the format has also activated. Can you see it? So
Yes, sir.
let's assume that I'm going to show you one little trick. Well, no, maybe not yet. Now, we go to shapes and click. Now, you see this shape? Because we already gave this shape a color. That's the last color we allocated. So under shape field, that is the current color. So if I click on it now, it gives this color to this shape. Are you seeing that? Just click on shape field, and it will convert the last color on it so that it can be a theme. Then you also go to outline and say no outline. We now go on to say, while we are still on that shape, you go to align middle. So it will be on the middle of the slide, the dead center of the slide. Now go to shapes. Under field, you see shapes. Then you see different presets. As you click them, you see the thing is becoming something else. Okay, then you click on it. Good. Now, if you have what I have, do you have what I have?
No.
What did I do? Nothing much. Let me delete it. What did I do? I went to insert I went to shapes. Okay, let me pick an ordinary rectangle. It's still the same thing. Ordinary rectangle, and I draw it to meet up with the guidelines. Okay, go to your view. Let's go to view. I didn't tell you that. Under view, activate your ruler, your guideline, and your guides. Under view. Under view, activate your ruler, your guidelines, and your guides should be activated.
Okay.
Right. Good. So now we have this. So as you place it, the guideline will show, the guides will show. Then I now went to format and made it to be the same color as this other one. Then I remove the outline and make it no outline. Then I go to shape effect under preset and I pick this first one with this white fill. This is how I got here. Are we together now? Now, if you have what I have, we're going to copy this one and we are going to take the second copy to the other side of the slide. By using our control button, the control key, we are going to hold down the control key. We're also going to hold down the shift key. The reason for holding the control key is that it's going to give us a new copy. The reason for using the shift key is that it's going to keep it in perfect line and alignment with the object you are copying. So when you have your control and your shift button depressed, then you just use your left mouse and just drag out a copy and align it with this other guideline and you release it. And that gives you something like this. Okay, let's make a little progress. Now, you can see what's going on to all the slides now, isn't it? Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm with you, sir. I'm with
Good.
you.
But there's one thing we are going to do. Now, this one, again, like I said, there are some things here I can't teach you because it's another workshop, but we just find a way of getting around it. This, we held control and click on this second one. So the two of them are highlighted. Can you see that? Use your control shift and click the two of them.
Okay. Yes, sir. I'm here.
Then you go to format. What we want to do is, if you look at it, you will see as if it is overlapping on this text box. So we want to send it to the back of this things so that it will not be blocking the text box. So we'll go to under arrange and say send to back. Now, anything you want to happen to all the slides, you have to do it on master slide. So let me go out of my master slide and see what it looks like. So this is what it's looking like now. But we will still come to do a little change on it. So I go back to my view. I go back to my slide master. Good. Now look at the text size. I want to change the text size. If you go home, you see the text size for the first level is 28. I normally like it to be at least 32. So I will change it to 32 font size. Beautiful. Now we're going to do something else. Now let's go to the title slide layout. Now look at what's going on. You see this second box? I'm going to highlight this box, right? And go to formats. I want to show you another way. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I go to the text field and say white, it becomes white. Can you see it? That's another way. Are you seeing it? Yeah?
Yes,
Are you
sir.
seeing it? Then the shape, and I say the shape. I go to shape field and look for another different color. I think I can add this one just to give it a contrast. Yeah, let's take black. But I'll pick the text and increase the size. Let me increase the size a little to 32. Okay, let me show you something else. Go back to the master slide. Now, all these placeholders are in the master slide. All these placeholders. They are where information is. This is your footer, this for your date, this for your page number. So if I want to change something about my page number, I can come here, select it, go home, and change the font size. Let me change it to Aharoni and increase the font size. You will see the font size of the page has increased. Now, if I want, I can reduce that box. Centralize it, and then go to format and say, put a shape outline. Let me put blue shape outline. Under outline, I now say, I increase the weight of that outline. Let me make it even thicker. Then I'm going to remove it and bring it here and put it right in the center here. Or I can put it right on top here. Let me put it, I think I prefer it in the center. Personal preference. Good. Now, if you go out of your slideshow and go to the next slide, you can see what I've done. I have changed the look of my slide number, and I've changed where it's going to be, and I've given it a color to rhyme with the theme that we are creating. So that's it. We are doing well. We are doing well. Nice. Nice. This thing is not a long thing. It's something that someone can do in 15 minutes. 15 minutes is too much. So we are taking more than the time we are supposed to be on this project. But it's good. Let's go. Okay, let's go back to the slide master. Now we click on this text box. Are you with me now?
Yes, sir.
Then we go to shape fill, and we're going to create a light. You see, the first color on your extreme left is white. The second color is actually an off-white. So we are going to leave that. If you want, you can add a little bit. You see, it's going to change to that. But I think I'll rather go with this. Nice. Now, after you put this color, you will notice that these your two boxes may be overlapping on your text box in front. That was why we are actually saying you should click the two of them, go to shape format under arrange and say send to back. So when you say send to back, it will be at the back of this box, because now you have a box with a color. And if you want, you can create a small outline. Let's say we put an outline that is blue. Okay, there you go. Just a blue outline. Are we together? We are making progress. All right. So we are not done yet. Now, you can now go ahead and do all kinds of things. Okay, let's do something different. What do we have here? The master, on the master slide, go home. Our main heading is Calibri 44. Then this one is Calibri 32. Now, supposing we don't want the titles to be Calibri also, we select it and look for, let's look for Comic Sans. Comic Sans. Yeah, Comic Sans. It has a strong feeling too. Now, automatically, all the titles would become Comic Sans. Are you seeing it? All the titles will become Comic Sans. This 44, this 60. Again, now look at the one on the slide title is 60. If you don't want it to be 60, you can select it and reduce the font size. You know, but you can always do that because depending on how many characters you have, you can see what is going on. Now, if you scroll down all the other layouts, you see them looking different. Now, we can determine what now happens to individual layouts, just like we determined for this one. Now let's go to slide master. Title slide. I don't want all these things in the background to be there. Look at all this one and this one, right? So I'm going to say hide background graphics. So you can see those two things. I don't want them on the title slide, so I take them out. Now on this one, it can be there, but on this one, it can stay. Now this is your section title. Look at it. Section header. That maybe you want to put introduction, part 1, part 2, blah, blah, blah. Again, I don't think I like this one to appear there. So I can say hide this. So it goes. Now, if I come to the text, look at this. This is the slide number. If I take it out on this slide, look at the other slide, it will still be there. So I've simply said that when I'm showing a section title, look at it, section head, I don't want slide number to appear. Now, look at this particular place. You know I had changed the slide title here. But look at what's going on here. You see here, the text here is not matching well. So I need to take this text here and maybe change the color to black. Why? Because the color that is there now is white. It appears from somewhere else. So I make it black, and then maybe I increase the font. Go home, increase the font size, and maybe centralize it. I think I should centralize it and also centralize this. Good. This is now section header. This is another layout, which is for title. What's it called? It's called two content. So maybe you want to compare between A and B. I want to put this one here and this one here. So this is how it's going to be. Maybe because this slide now is going to have smaller information, I don't want this layout from the master slide to be there. So I'll go under slide master and say hide background so that these things will not be there. Now, you see, this is a master, this is another type of slide. But you see, actually, there are two comparisons here. But supposing I want a situation where I can also put a title on top of each of these two boxes. There is no layout like that. Look at, there's no layout like that. So I can take this layout, right click on it and say duplicate layout. Now it's giving me exactly that type of layout. But what I actually want to do is to take this slide title and then I'm going to crush it to be on top of only here. Then remember what we did the other time. Using the Control and Shift button, I drag out another copy and put on top of here and use the guideline. So now I have a slide layout that is a customized layout. I can now rename it and call it my Louis 2 content. Now, for this one, I decided that the font size should be smaller because of how much information, or maybe I can leave it. Maybe I'm just going to put something like just a small thing, maybe item 1, item 2, so it can stick. So what am I showing you here? You can actually duplicate a layout and edit it to create your own. Now, you can even create a new slide master so that another part of the document, you can have a different feeling and have a different set of layouts again. Let's keep it simple so that we don't complicate matters. Are we on the same page here?
Yes,
Are
sir.
we together? Okay, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
we are making progress. Now, this
Yes, sir.
particular slide, this one is title only. Now, if you say title only, I think I don't like these guys to be here on title only. Maybe it's something you want to put a figure on. So this thing will disturb it. So you say hide background. There's also a slide that is a blank slide. I think that blank slide, I also want to do what? Hide background. So that maybe I want to draw something on it. Let it just stay quietly. Now, on this particular slide, where I want to put images, I can decide that I want my text box to be down. So I will press my shift and hold and drag it down so that it will just be straight and come down. Then I can move it a little bit to the right, like that, because it's going to be odd in that cannot. So now I have it here. So this is how you go. If you don't want this one to be on this slide also, you can remove the background graphics so that for where you want it to be. If you also feel that in this slide, I don't think the page number will be good here, let me take it down to somewhere here and align it with these other things and put it here like this. Then I'll move it a little bit. So you are able to control everything that happens in the main stadium by working at the background. So you can do this to your heart's content. So let's close this and now come back to here. So if you go to slideshow now, it's going to give you something like this. Now, if you are here, it looks as if the only thing that is different is the title slides, isn't it? If you go to slideshow and you don't like where anything is, you can just go and take it away. So if I look and I say, I don't like where this slide number is. So let me go back to slideshow and go to under view, go under slide master. Then I go here and say, you know what? I don't like where this thing is. Come and stay here with your friends on this same place, right here. That's all. Bam, it's done. When I go to my slideshow, there you go. It's back there, just the way I want. So you can really play around and get a feel for what you want. Now, what's the issue here? Let's close slide master. So if you go to the title slide, you can see it has changed the appearance. You can see this look. If I'm not so happy with this, I can say, okay, you can still change it here manually, but you can have set everything and you just run your race. Anything you type here, once you have set it in your master slide, it's going to take that motion. Now, let's go back here. Slide 2. What font is this? Times New Roman, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
But go to your slide master. Slide master. Under this particular slide, what's the text? Go home. What text is we defined here? Is it not Calibri? Yes, it's Calibri we defined. But when we go to the slide, we are still seeing Times New Roman that was copied from the Word document, and it's a serif font. Why is it not changing? That is a problem. You mean all the work we did is a wasted effort? Now, this is 2 things I'm going to show us here now. Look at this one. The font size has not changed, and the font type has not changed. This is where we now need the introduction of another tool. Now, everybody has a phone, and on your phone, there is something called factory default reset, isn't it? When you click on that button, everything in your phone goes back to how it was when you bought it in every area. So what is happening here is this. This text here has been defined and it has failed to follow the format of this thing. So we need to reset. There are two things that are important here. There is reset and there is also clear formats. Now, watch what's going to happen. I'm going to show you two things. Now, look at this text box. Some people like to move their text boxes. It's one of the problems you have. Imagine somebody will just carry the text box and then you see it. So if you are moving from slide 5 to 6, are you seeing it? Does it look good to the eye? It doesn't look good to the eye. Because you want everything to enter. You just move it around anyhow. Now, I'm on slide 6 now. Now, what do I want to do? Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to drag this text box and make it to be out of sequence and out of order. It's not how it's supposed to be. So if I'm coming from slide 5 to slide 6, you can see what we are having is not nice, isn't it? So this slide 6 needs two things to be done. Now, if I go to that slide 6 and I click reset, now look at what has happened. It has reset that text box to exactly the same place as it's supposed to be, and it has converted the text to exactly what I had formatted it to be inside my master slide. Look at it now, Calibri. So if you go to your master slide and you see here, what are we supposed to have? You check under home, you see Calibri 32. I close, come back, but I'm having Calibri 30. Why am I having Calibri 30 instead of Calibri 32? The text box has been set. It is perfectly in the right position. The text has been converted to the same as what we have already defined in our slide master, but the slide does not have font size that are equal. Why? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bullets. PowerPoint is designed to contract the information. The more information you put in it, the more it contracts the size of the text, and it's going to go below even what was set. So if I continue to add more information, equal round 4, 3. Can you see what? I've added another set of text to it. Now, what's happening to the text? It's still Calibri body, but it has reduced. The more you put text, it will accommodate it. This is usually part of the problem we have. So now I have ordered to reset, but yet the text. So let me take this out. What do? All I need to do is to take out some of these bullets so that I can have sufficient space to contain the right font size. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything from bullet 5, I'm going to cut it, Control X. Maybe I should take it from here. Control X. Now look at what has happened. Now the text is what? 32. So the text is 32. The font is what I define it to be. And at the same time, there's good space. So I can Control M, create a new slide in 2 ways. One, where am I now? Here. Oh dear. Okay. If I click on this slide and I click enter, it will produce exactly the same type of slide for me. I can now just put my other text. So once you select a slide and you click enter, it produces a new text of exactly that type. It's the same thing as also Control M. It will produce a new slide of the same type. Now, this is the information I copied from slide 6, brought it to slide 7, and what do you now have? Slide 7 is also looking like 32 Calibri and somehow looking okay. Let me just do this so that it look okay. So this is what it looks like. Fine, it's the same text. Now, who can tell me what is still wrong with this?
It's still crowded, sir.
Yeah, I think it still looks somehow crowded. So there are two more things we are going to do to add a little color or to add a little panache to this slide. So let me go back to this place. Not bad. So if I go back to slide master. Now let's come to this particular slide. When I click on this slide and click on the title, on the text, in the content, and then I go home, then I can do all I need to edit there. So what do I have here? I have my 32 Calibri, but let me go to paragraph and line spacing. Look at it. Paragraph and line spacing. Before text and after text, I like to have it being 0, 0. Then let's say we make it 1.5 line and say okay. Just making it 1.1 line spacing. Now, if you look at this slide now, for example, you see it's showing Times New Roman 25. Go to paragraph and go to line spacing. You will see it's showing multiple. Why? Because there is something else going there that it came with. So if I now take it, let me see, and say reset. Now, I've done reset. I come back to paragraph. I go to line spacing. You see it's still showing this. Why? The content is too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me take this. Let me take only one out, and you see, I take one out. That's all. It sits nicely. So if you now check the paragraph, you see that it's called 001.5. What does it mean? It means that the text is too much, and I can easily reduce from it and move it to the next text. Control V. That's it. It now comes and sits here. And it is now following that same format. Now, if you don't want it to be like this, you can change it by working on before and after. Say, okay, line spacing. I want before paragraph to be 0 line spacing. Then after paragraph, I want it to be 6 points. Then, sorry, let me do it inside so that you see. Let's go. I think my own was 6. No, it's 7. Okay, yeah. Now, if I take this particular slide alone and I go and work on the paragraph, this is what's going to happen. Look at it. 0 before, 6 or 6 after. You see, this thing is only applying to only this side, and that's the slide master. Now, because I've done something to this one, it's no more exactly what it's supposed to be. So if I come here now and say reset, see, it goes back to what I've already defined in the master slide. That's the power of the master slide. So you don't need to worry yourself so much here. You just take care of everything in that master slide, and all you need to do is to just come and do clean up here. So what do we have now? We have this slide looking okay. We have slide 1. Then we have some that are all not reset. Are we on the same page? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I can decide to say select all. I've selected all the slides. Go to this slide pane and say select all. Once you say select all and you click reset, you can go out of that selection. Now go to every text. Look, everyone is now following what you have defined in your slide master. Every slide is following what you have defined in your slide master. What is the only exemption? The only exemption is any slide that has so many bullets. We only contract the information. And because it has contracted the information, you will see that the line spacing is still 0, 0 before and after, but the line spacing will become multiple. You can see instead of 1.5, that become 1.3. If I try to increase it to 1.5 and say, okay, see what happens, it will open up a little bit. It will now become 1.5, I think. Yes, but you can see what has happened. The font size is what? 25. If I take this information here and I try to increase the font size to 32, look at what happens now. It has taken it out of the box. Are you seeing it now? This is what happens when I try to force everything to 32 font size, which means all I needed was 1, 2, 3, and probably 4. So from number 5, I select, I cut, and there you go. So I can click on this one now again, this slide, and say reset. There you go. Now it's looking okay. So I can now say Control M, and that information that I cut from my previous slide, I paste it here, and you can see it's matching properly. This is how it goes. So what have we done? We have converted that slide that was looking so bad, and we have converted it to something looking a little bit nicer. The last things we are going to do is the use of section. Let's go back to the beginning, and then we just work on a few slides, and then we're out of here. So if you go to slide 1 is title slide. Slide 2 is this one. I think we try to edit it by just cross-checking. You will see everything is. But look at it. You see the font size on slide 2. It's not 32. It means there's too much on it. So if I take this one out, for example, you see 32. So you have to really be able to work on the content of the slides so that it will fit nicely. So when you have done all this, you now come and take every slide that is choked up and cut away whatever is there that is making it to be choked up so that it can now fit nicely into what you want. For example, this one now, I think because of the amount of text, you know, I told you this is randomly generated text, so it doesn't make any sense. There's so much you can just modulate and it just change everything. But anything you do inside a slide will represent only that slide. You have to move out of that slide, take care of it in the master slide, then to affect every single one. What have we done so far? We have shown that we have 9 layouts. You can see that I have created my own layout. Look at it, with 2 content. So you see my own 2 content is different. Now, if I take this layout and I decide to convert it, I convert the layout to this, and that's what it will become. It's as simple as that. So depending on the information I want, I can decide to change layout. So let me undo, and it goes back to that. So I said we have 2 more things to do, but there are actually 3. One is the one that is going to take us a little time, and the other 2 are just very snappy. Now, when you are doing your presentation, it's good for you to show the people what you are doing. So I can create a section header. I want to show you the difference between a section header and a section. So let's assume that I want to create a section header. I now create a new slide, and I decide straight that I want a section header. And I say introduction. Introduction. So that becomes, if I'm presenting, after I say, my name is so and so, I'm standing in for Logic Academy, and today we are going to be talking about PowerPoint Mechanic Workshop 1. Now, the first component of this presentation is going to be introduction. Then I start talking about my introduction. So that means we have now used 3 different types of slide here. We have the title slide, we have the slide section, we have the title and content, and then if I come and change this one to, let me change the layout to, let's just say title only. Yeah. Now you see my title only, it doesn't have a text box, so the information will just fall anyhow. So there may be a reason why you want to do that. I use that when I want to draw an image and it's supposed to have a title. So let's allow it to go like that. So now you can create all these section heads so that when you are moving, when people see that you are saying, okay, introduction, they know that this is the introduction section. Then you move on, you reach a place, you say it's method, objective, you reach another place, you say result, you get to another place, you say it's whatever. So you can create this introduction and all of that. Those are section headers. But there is section creation that is not a header, that organizes your slides into sections. Now, this section that you create enable you to be able to reorder the arrangement of your document. I will explain that in a moment. Let me even delete this one and assume there's nothing there. And let's say I put my cursor here and I say insert a section and call this one part 1. Now you see, this is not the same thing as inserting a slide. So I can actually have a slide after here, which is section header. Okay, I bring it here. It's part of this one now. And call it introduction. Introduction. So this introduction is part of part 1. So let's assume that from slide 2 to slide 20 is all one matter. Then after slide 20, I insert a section and call it part 2. Then I go again all the way to 40 and say from 41, I insert a section and call it part 3, right? Then let's say from slide 51, I insert a section and I call it part 4.
Okay.
Now, what I have done is that I have actually divided this presentation into 4 parts. Part 1, you can see now, when I put my cursor there, it shows you that this one is a default section because you have to have a title. Part 1 now is slide 1 to 19. Slide 2 is slide 21 to something. So now, watch what is going to happen. I now go to section and I say collapse all. Here you go. So it's now telling us that default section is only 1 slide. Part 1 has 19 slides. Part 2 has 20 slides. Part 3 has 10 slides. Part 4 has 15 slides. Now, what is the use of this whole thing? I can even reorganize my presentation. Supposing they are not materials that have to be linear in order, meaning that 1 must not come before 2. Maybe I want to talk about poverty in Nigeria. I also want to talk about the school system in Nigeria. Then I also want to talk about politicians and their schemes. And I also want to talk about the challenge of electricity. Now, these things don't follow any sequence. So if I just saw that, for this audience, the best thing for me to do is to start with part 4. I can just take part 4 now and drag it to the top. And all the slides, the 15 slides of part 4, are now going to be on top. All of them with their titles. Everything is going to come and just move. Now, you are familiar with slide sorter. Slide sorter is where you can rearrange slides and say, okay, you come here, you go to this place, you be in front of here. So if you want to take 20 slides, maybe your supervisor or your organization tells you that, no. This slide 1 to 20 should not come first. This slide 1 to 20 should be after slide 20 to 40. So instead of you to be carrying them 1 by 1 or something, you just come and create sections, and then you can just carry them and take them differently. So now, if we go back to the beginning of our slides, let's go back to the beginning. And we are doing slideshow now. You can see that this was not what was the first thing we had before. Fun facts in creating PowerPoint. But now, that has become slide 2. So it has taken all those slides and moved them to the front. So if I come back again here and I say, okay, go to slide, collapse them, take back 4 to the back, and then go to slide 2, slide 1, slide 2. Let us say collapse, expand. Then you now see that back again, our slide 2 is introduction slide. The last thing I'm going to show you is animation. Now, let's assume that we have done every other thing. You have cut the places that are not supposed to be long and press them down, blah, blah, blah. Now, what we are going to do is very simple. Let's go back to our slide master and go to the title and content. This is it. Select this first line. Now, you go to animations. Can you find float in?
Float in, yes, sir, I can see.
Yeah, if you use float in, you can also use the down to change the direction. So when you click on that float in and come to effect option, you click on it and you say float down. Are we together? Then you say you should go to float down. After that, you see the animation pane. Click on the animation pane, then it will bring that animation pane on your right. Now, you right click on that and go to effect options. Effect options. Are you there?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
When you get to effect options, you say you should dim after animation and you select a color of your choice. The idea behind this is that when you are presenting, you want to have control so that you bring each bullet one after the other, and after you are done with that bullet, you can just take it out. So I say dim and I select a color that is similar to the color of the slide. But you can select any color, but you want it to be a color that will diminish the power of that text. Then you also go to text animation and say animate shape should be removed. If not, this text box will also be appearing. It will be coming down from up. So you uncheck that animate text shape and you say, okay, this one is about timing, whether you want it to be fast or slow. You can decide to say 2 seconds if you want, and you say okay. But 2 seconds is actually slow. So we can reduce it here to 1 second. Are we together?
Yes.
Once you are done with that, you can go to normal, and if you go to your slideshow, what are you seeing? My title slide, isn't it?
Yes.
So if I go to the next, I have what? Introduction. That is highlighting that's what I'm coming on with. Then the next thing, I have our beautiful design that we did, right? And then
Yes.
I click and the first thing comes. I click, the second one comes. I click and you have that. I'm sure this is a lot better than what we had before. This is what we had before. This is what we had before.
Yes, sir.
And now we have something different. Now I'm going to do something for you to see the practicality of what we have been saying. But just before that, I'm going to still show you one last thing. I told you one last thing. We're supposed to have finished by 1 o'clock. Now, this is what we had. This was our starting platform, isn't it? So you can create your own thing. Then you can modify their own by changing the colors and just coming up with something else. You can alter the background. But again, someone like me, once I see it, I know where it's coming from. So it's always easier and better for you to create your own. It gives you your own freshness. You can always think of the colors you want to play with, blend them together, and come up with your perfect idea. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the actual sense, I can simply now come, now that you understood what we did, I can come here, go to my view, go to my slide master, decide that I want to take this shape, and I take this shape, I go to format, I go to fill, I give it black, I give the text fill, I give it white, right? This one, I can decide to give the shape maybe red or something like, well, I'm not even seeing. Let's say another color like this, and then the text, I make it also white. Supposing I decide to give this one an outline, and then I take this text, I make it go home and give it bold fill, right? While this one, honestly, I don't think that outline is necessary. Yeah, so instead, I go home, I just bolden it, increase it a little bit, okay? Then I decide that, oh, you know what I was doing? I was doing this on this particular one. So it's going to apply to only this. So let me just undo everything that I had here. But I come here again, same thing, take this text, go to format, the shape, I make it maybe a dark blue, then the text white, and then I go to home, I make it bold, right? Then this one, in fact, even the background, I can format the whole background and say the whole background should be something like that, the whole background. Then I can go down my shapes, take a shape like this, right? I can decide to do something a little bit more crazy. Okay, I didn't teach you this one, so let's leave this alone. Let's say we have this here, and I just do that. Okay, here we are. I take this, I say send to back. Then this text box, I can give it also a light color. Then this guy and this guy, I give them this same dark blue, and then I can give them an effect like that. Okay, then here we go. Here I don't want these things to be, right? Then the one that has this one too, I don't want this to be. This one is blank. I don't want it to have that. Maybe this one too, I can just let it be. So here we are. This one is a special slide. I hardly ever use this. So we go back to master. What else? I want to take my, I want to take my text and I want to say, I want it to be 32. 32, there you go. Let's assume I even leave the paragraph the way it is. Before and after, I leave it like that. And then let me just make this one single. You'll see what it looks like. What else do I do? I'm already getting there. Let's go and look at what it's going to look like. There you are. Remember, I have to remove it from this one. So I go back to my slideshow. Sorry, master slide. Here, I say, I don't want these guys here. Close. There you go. Then what is the next thing? I need to select everything and I'll go to reset. There you go. I go back there again. I go and do my animation. You can see everything. I've used almost everything within these few moments to show you that indeed it can be done within a few minutes. This is a fresh new slide. I just picked a second copy of it to show you how it's possible to do it within a short time. Here you are, everything we've done so far today. I close this, I close this, then I close this. If I go to my slideshow, you can't see it right now, but I'm seeing everything is looking just the way I want it. The last thing is for me to say, okay, I want to create a section here and call it introduction. I use this, introduction. You see this one, I did not change it to be middle, so it will be according to the default, that's introduction. But I can also decide to create sections here and say this is section, I call it part one, and then I can say only 2 parts from slide 1. You see, it has picked everything. So if I now say, okay, up to slide 30, then from slide 30, I create another section and call it part 2. There you go. If I now come now and say I want to collapse all the sections, we have only 3 sections. The default section has 1 slide, the second section has 29, the third one has 31. I can take this slide and bring it here, and so this slide will start from here, but the number will still be correct. If I go to my slideshow, which you can see, I go to slide 1, everything is working just the way we had agreed. So all I would have needed to do after that is to go and check one by one which are the slides that are overloaded. Once this slide is overloaded, I cut out of it, take it out, go to the next slide, put it there. Sorry. Put it there. And before you know it, that animation also applies to this slide because it's the same type of layout. And that's what you do. You can convert that slide. So setting everything from the beginning, and before you know it, you have your own customized slide. You can choose the colors you want. Right, within a few minutes, I can decide to change the whole concept of this again. I say, no, I don't want this. I go to my master, this one here, I think I want to take a strong color. I go to format, this time around, I'm going to give it red. Even though it's a strong color, I decide it's red is going to do. Then I go back here and say, this particular shape, I'm going to turn it to black, so that instead of blue, it's going to be black. Then these 2 colors, I'm going to transform them into a kind of grayish color. And that's it. I close it. And I've turned everything again into a different, beautiful game. So this is just how easy it is to really customize your stuff and make it look nice. And within a few minutes, you have a slide. You are not a professional, but you're looking like a professional. If I wanted again, I could take my major slide and decide I'm going to put an image. Let's say I go here and I say this is my background. I want to format the background and I want to insert a picture, right? To go to file and look for a picture. Let me go to file. I hope I can get the folder I'm looking for. This is just how it works. I'm trying to see, let's say I take this picture and insert it. That picture now goes there, and then I can just increase the transparency like that. And you know what? We've got another different view again all over. So I go out of this, I come here, and you have another completely different perspective just by 1 or 2 little things you do. So this time around, if I say, okay, I don't want this text box there again, I can go back again, go into that place, master slide, go to that first slide and say that this particular one, I don't want it to have shape again. Shape fill, no fill. But I can decide, okay, this time I want a thin outline, and that thin outline should be black. Then I do what? I'm out of there. Back again, look at it. So this thing just depends on how much imagination you can just have. And within a few minutes, you are making something that looks nice, and it's like, man, you are a pro. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I'll put my brakes. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you,
Quite,
sir.
we are very grateful.
We are grateful, sir. Please, sir, can we ask questions?
Yes, you can ask questions now, just within a few minutes.
Okay, sir. So for the sectioning, is
For
there
the
a
what?
way to name the sections like part 1, part 2, part 3?
That's what I did. I named
Okay.
sections all the time.
We want
Let
to.
me show
We
you
want to
again.
see here.
Wait, look at it. I named all the sections. This is,
Okay.
look at this part 1. So what happens is
Mm,
when you are creating it, okay, let's assume I'm creating another section. I think, let me collapse everything first. Collapse all sections. So there are, let me take this one back. This part 1. Okay, so from 1 to 29, then from 1 to 1, sorry, part 1 has 29 slides. That means from 30. Then part 2 has 32 slides. So you can actually name the slide. Look at this one. I named it. You can go again and say rename, relapse,
okay.
move section off, move it down, collapse it all. So if I say rename or I remove this section, that section is no more there. Are you seeing it?
Yes, sir.
So if I now say remove all sections, okay, let me do what you wanted. Now there's no more sections, right?
Yes.
So after this place, somebody's device is feedbacking everything I'm saying. I come here and say add section, and then right here I call it part 1. That's all. Now, if I say part 1, it's going to mean that the whole document is part 1, unless I go to a point and now create a second point. I say, okay, after slide 20, I click my mouse and I now say add section, part 2. Do you get it now?
Yes, sir.
Are we together?
Yes.
That's just how simple it is. So you create the section. Okay, I go down again. Let me say, okay, from 50. This one ends on 50. Then from 51, I create a new section and call it part. I don't know whether it's 3 now. You have to forgive me. Good. When I now come and say collapse all, yeah, so I've seen part 1 has 19 slides, part 2 has 30 slides, part 3 has 12 slides. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other quiz? You see, I'm just having fun now. I'm just taking out some things.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
As we are using Windows 36, Office 365 and
Yes.
Office 16, are they displaying the same, or is there some differences?
There's no difference. Any one of the offices any office you are using, we have this basic. I've made sure that I have not used anything that is not available in all the PowerPoint versions. Office 365 is the most current one. So there's nothing that you find in the older ones that you not see in Office 365. You see, as I've edited this one now, it's going to follow that edit. All within a few minutes. You just transform your stuff into, and it just looks like you are a magician of some sort. So you can actually be called suddenly to do a presentation and you come up with something and they will like, where are you getting this thing from? Well, it's just because you understand the tools and you have been able to use them effectively. Not making use of it is a complete waste and loss of time and effort. So I hope to see some people being able to deploy this with confidence when they have a presentation to make. So in the absence of any other questions, this is where we call it a day. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Happy weekend. Thank you.